Good morning, everyone. My name is Martinez with Martinez392. Thank you for watching today. Today, we're going to talk about something very simple. Over the past week, I have installed Linux Mint and have used it on a daily basis on my laptop computer. As I have found out, there's things that's more difficult using Linux than Windows. But it's not a rocket science to take to learn it. I used Linux many years ago, many years ago. I mean, I have to say at least 4 or 5 years ago. And at that time, I really didn't know much about computers. Yes, I did repair work back then, but I really wasn't excited to use Ubuntu. It was a operating system that's still out today. You can download it today. But there's things and negatives about Ubuntu, and it tries to be too much like Apple in some ways, and I don't like that idea. So I will continue to look for a Linux distribution that I liked. I came into Linux Mint, and the more I use it, the more I'm used to using it. It took me a couple days to download printer drivers, but as I got used to it, as I learned, I was able to install the printer drivers with no problem. Yes, it took me a couple days. Yes, it wasn't easy, but I learned. More and more every single day we hear about things that Microsoft is doing. Don't get me wrong, I like Windows 10, and I think it's one of the best operating systems they ever built. But the problem is, the more we hear about these vulnerabilities in Microsoft's operating system, the more we hear about the CIA and the other agencies that are spying on us every single day. And to learn that now there's this software out there that they have released to the hackers where they can hack to any Windows PC they want because a hacker hacked into the government Central Intelligence Agency and now took that away. And the hackers now have the opportunity to hack into your PC. And it's just not that. I mean, Microsoft came downhill a few years ago when Windows 8, Windows Vista. They did have 2 successful operating systems out there in the last decade or so, and actually 3 of them actually: Windows XP, Windows 7, and Windows 10. Many will say Windows 7 is the best operating system ever created. Some will say XP, but in my opinion, it's definitely Windows 10. But it has its downsides, and let's be honest, there is no creativity in using Microsoft. You can't trust Microsoft. You really can't anymore, and it has come to a time where I realized I gotta learn and get out in the world to figure out an alternative. And this is what Linux Mint is. Linux Mint is an alternative to Microsoft. If you're looking for an operating system that functions just like that, but it's different in its own ways, this is Linux Mint. Linux Mint 18.1 I have used over the last couple weeks, and it is really amazing operating system. It's reliable, it's stable, it doesn't freeze, you get updates almost every single day. It's updated constantly. You update on the security updates constantly. You're not getting fall behind. When there's a problem, it's fixed the next day. With Microsoft, you don't know when your next problem is going to be fixed. You don't know when the next security problem is going to be fixed. With Linux Mint, in a few days, you will have that fix. So you don't got to worry about it. And that's what I like about Linux as a whole. But the one distribution that I actually like is Linux Mint, and I highly recommend you to download it. The pros and cons or sometimes outweigh each other. It depends on what you need. I wouldn't say this is more of a centered toward businesses, really. It really is. I mean, if you're running a server, Linux is the best way to go. I mean, you're not going to get any better. But if you're running a business where you need to use Microsoft Office and stuff like that, there's great alternatives to use, like WPS. It used to be called King Office, which I used for many years on Windows. It's a great Office suite. It really is. It does its job. It looks fantastic. It runs great. But yes, Linux and Microsoft has its pros and cons. And for me right now, in the situation where I'm at, Linux runs more reliability and more reliable for me right now than Microsoft. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of Windows 10. There's no denying that. I still have it on my desktop, but on my laptop, I'm highly considering getting rid of Windows 10. I still have Windows 10 on here. but it's just ran. I have two dual OSs running, and I'm considering of removing Windows 10 and just sticking with Linux Mint. Linux Mint, if you want to look into it, go to Linux Mint, look up on Google. I'll leave the description down below. Download it, install it as a second operating system, and I'll tell you, learn. It's amazing how you can do things on Linux. I mean, the process of installing things, it's a little different. Yes, it's not as easy as it is on Microsoft, where you just click, download a file, click install. It's not like that. In some cases, yes, it can be like that, but they're more moving towards that. Linux is moving more towards that. Yes, they are. It's a much more different than it was a few years ago, but it's still certain programs you still gotta go in the terminal and type in commands, and that's what I like most about it. If you're a guy, if you went to school, you will understand the command part, because if you go to a technical education center for computer repair and networking, you will understand commands. Because that's all you learn in them classes. You learn about commands and how to use command prompt in the terminals and the different type of commands that you gotta type in. Yes, it's more difficult, it's more time consuming, but it's the best way. And I highly recommend you, if you're looking for an alternative to Microsoft, try out Linux Mint. It won't doubt you, it won't make you wish you didn't do it. Because I tell you right now, it's the best operating system on the market today. My name is Roberto Martinez, with Martinez 392. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and have a great day.